Oh, you're
between my filming.
Legit right now?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
When I said I was filming, but she gonna walk past the camera again. Shut up. Welcome back to another episode of SERI Cooks. I know it's been a while since the last one, but I promise you I'm gonna make more than 3 videos a year. Today we are gonna make Oxtail Pho. As you can see, I got a lot going on behind me. I actually invited some guests tonight. Hopefully they like it. I'm really looking forward to this because this is a dish that I love. Nothing's better than a nice warm bowl of pho, of tortilla. If you stick with me, I'll show you how to make it. It's gonna be a little long, but I promise you it'll be worth it. All right, so we got the star of the show, our nice, beautiful brisket here. So we got 2 pieces, they're about 3 pounds each. What we did last night was we made a dry rub out of some pho spices in this convenient pho spice bag. We got some clove, cardamom, cinnamon, and we used our pestle and mortar here because you want to do it the traditional way. We got it nice and coarse. We added some salt, some sugar, some pepper, and we made sure to taste it. And just kind of rubbed it all over our brisket, and we left it in the fridge overnight. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna sear it onto this roasting pan. We're gonna throw in some charred onion, charred ginger. So let's go ahead and get started on that. Okay, safety tip everyone, make sure you're using tongs when you're handling anything near an open flame. You don't want to char your fingers, but we do want to char this ginger with the skin on. And the reason we're doing this is because we want a smoky flavor. It adds a bit of depth. If you ever had barbecue, you'll know what I'm talking about. So just keep an eye on it, make sure you don't burn the house down. And then we'll get started with our onions. I am peeling off the excess paper off the onion because this burns pretty fast. So let me actually use this knife here. Okay. And now that our onion and our ginger has got a nice char, I'm going to take it off the flame. I'm going to cut it in half. I'm going to put my brisket on top of the half of the onion so it has something to properly sit on. And then we're going to do the same with this little guy over here. You take a look at our ginger here. It's nice and kind of burnt. That's fine. Again, we're looking for that smoky flavor. So I think we're okay here. I might chop it a little down so it can sit, but I think we're good. All right. So I knew I was going to be making a lot of food tonight, so I bought this roasting tray. And the beauty of this is because that is stainless steel, pretty high quality grade. You can put it over an open flame. All right, so I got some regular corn oil here. I'm just gonna drizzle the pan with a little bit of it here. And then once the temperature comes up, we're gonna throw our brisket on there. And you want it nice and hot so you can get that crust action going. All right, just to make sure that we knew the pan was hot enough, I threw a little piece of onion in there. Once you start to hear that sizzle, see a little smoke rising from the pan, you know you're in good shape. So I'm gonna grab one of my briskets. I'm gonna lay it fat side down because that's got a lot of grease in it. And that's the sound that you want. You wanna hear that sizzle. I'll grab the other piece as well. Same thing, fat side down. And again, just let it do its thing. Try to get brown. And then you kind of forget about the brisket, and then you can get to work on your pho. All right, so we let it sit on one side for about a good 5 minutes. Let's check on the progress. Yeah, see that? That's what we're looking for. Nice, beautiful crust. Nice and brown. And again, be a little patient. This is a big piece of meat. All right, so you want to get a nice brown color on there. And you can let it go for a little bit longer if you want, but we got guests coming over at 7, a little pressed for time. So, again, we're gonna deglaze like we mentioned before. All right, so I made a little mistake. I was actually supposed to take the meat out of the pan before I deglazed. So the problem with that is you don't want it to steam, so I'm sorry. But what we're gonna do now is just kind of just let it boil out a little bit. Hopefully it evaporate some of the water, but again, the reason that we poured the water is so you can get rid of the little crusty pieces on the pan there. So once we get it to a boil, starts to evaporate, we're gonna put the onion and rest the brisket on top. Aluminum foil, oven. So y'all still with me? First and foremost, I want to say thank you to my mom. I was a little overdue, but I just want to thank her for getting up all those Saturday, Sunday mornings super early to make us cathedral. This is super labor intensive. I mean, it's a process. You gotta cut stuff up, you gotta boil it, you gotta season it right. And she'd be up at like 6 in the morning trying to make this for us. So what we got going here is we got a pot of boiling water. And the reason for this is because we got some beautiful oxtail. And the thing about oxtail is that it's delicious, but you gotta cook it for a long time. And we're gonna put it in this boiling water and we're gonna cook it for about 5 minutes or so. And the reason we wanna do that is so we can get rid of all the kind of scum or impurities. But don't worry, the flavor is still in there. There's a lot of flavor in those bones. We got about 4 pounds here. Also, we've got some beef neck bone as well. It's a cheaper cut, but the flavor is still really, really great. And we're just mixing it up. Oxtail is pretty expensive too, so if you're kind of low on budget, neck bones work really well. Now that our water's boiling, we'll drop them in there. And also, if you take a look to the side here, we've got some more of the onions and the ginger charring, and we're gonna put it into our pho broth as well. And over in the cut here, we've got an Instapot. This video is not sponsored by Instapot, but it can be. So DM me if you, anyway. And the reason we got an Instapot is because, you know, if you're just gonna cook the oxtail by itself, you'd have to do it for about 3 hours. The beauty of the Instapot is that it's a pressurized cooker. So we're cutting the cooking time in about a third. So normally what would take 3 hours is down to 1 hour. Again, I'm sorry, Mom, she didn't have the Instapot 20, 30 years ago. So she had to do, you know, big ass pot for 3 hours. So by the time your lazy ass woke up on Saturday, it'd be ready, but you know, she was up since 6 in the morning. So let's go ahead and take care of all of that. All right, pro tip, make sure you use tongs because there's nothing worse than getting hot water on your face and body. So I'm only speaking from experience, and it's gonna take me a little while, but again, try to avoid dumping. You don't want a big mess everywhere. I think the rest of it, see? Told you. I also need to invest in a bigger pot because it's probably not gonna fit everything, so. All right, so this oxtail's been boiling for about 5 minutes now. See all that white, brown stuff? That's all the impurities, all the kind of gunk. And this is just a way of cleaning the bones so that we get a nice clear broth. A little advice, don't fill the water all the way to the top because you're gonna get the bubbles up there and then gonna splash all over the place out. So we'll let it boil for another minute and then we're gonna dump it out into the sink. We're gonna put those oxtails into the Instapot, cover the lid, and then go for an hour. All right, so you're ready for another Cambodian word of the day. This big old pot, we call it chnang. Say it with me, chnang, all right? We got water boiling. What we're gonna do here is we got our beef neck bones that have been boiled down to get rid of the impurities. We're gonna add that to the boiling water. Try to do this quickly, but carefully. So I actually filled this pot about halfway, okay? So we don't need too much water in there for now. And then remember the charred ginger and onion. We're gonna throw one of these boys in there, which is the ginger, and we're gonna throw 2 onions in there, right? Okay, now that we got that, I am using some palm sugar. It's a little bit different from the Domino white sugar. It's a bit milder, and traditionally this is what we used back home. So we're gonna throw about 3 pieces in there. We'll stir it around, it'll melt. And we've got some regular old table salt. We're gonna do 2 tablespoons. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Shout out to Manila for his ad-libs. And we got some beautiful MSG. MSG is basically a flavor enhancer. We're gonna put 1 tablespoon of this. I don't trust anybody that doesn't use MSG, so whatever, but there we go. We're gonna let this water come to a boil, and we're actually gonna do one last thing here. So we used this last night to rub our brisket with. This is the pho spice. It actually comes with a cheesecloth that you can put all of it into. And then we're gonna put that cheesecloth into the broth. So I'll go ahead and do that now. Carefully, away from the flame. So we're gonna tie it like the little present that it is. And this is gonna give it some awesome flavor. Just dump, make sure that it is submerged in there. The beauty of cooking is that, you know, you taste as you go, you make sure that it's seasoned right. So we'll check on that in a little bit. And we still got our oxtail going, about another hour. And then our brisket is still in the oven, cooking low and slow, be about another hour and a half. So as you can see, some of my guests have arrived. What you need? Ask Boo. All right, I gotta go check on my phone. Come on. All right, the oxtail is done. Our Instant Pot is done. So what we're gonna do, safety first, we're gonna hit that lever and let the pressure out. And then once all that steam and gunk has come out, then we'll open the lid and pour the oxtail stew into the big pot, which has already been simmering for about a good hour and a half now. We're gonna let all the air come out so you know it's safe. Now that the pressure is out of the Instant Pot, we can safely remove the lid. Beautiful. And we are gonna lift this boy up. And we're gonna pour it into this other boy. We just wanna be very careful here. Remember what I told you about splashing, so if you got one of these, I highly recommend using it. Now this is what you want your oxtail consistency to be, very soft. And the word we have in Khmer is called poi, which means very tender. So that's perfect. Okay, awesome. Stir it all in, and what we'll do is we'll actually taste it. So get a little bowl, pour a little bit, and then let's go ahead and taste it. So the broth is pretty good, but what I would do is I would add a little bit more fish sauce, just for that unctuous umami. But other than that, like, it's very rich. You got a lot of that flavor from bone broth. So it's tasting very good right now. We're gonna mess around a little bit, hopefully get the taste right, and then we'll serve. It's pretty good, but you know what? I'm gonna do one little thing here. I've got this instant beef flavor paste. I'm just gonna kick it up a notch. I'm gonna put 1 tablespoon in here. And this is gonna give it that really deep beef flavor. So I think that is gonna do the job. So my guests are really hungry. We actually ordered some pizza. Hopefully we got enough bowls for them, so we'll see. But, you know, I got this beautiful plate of meat here. We got that pastrami, that beef eye round. Got some meatballs in the middle here so they can, you know, dress their plate up. Obviously we got one thing to cover. We have noodles. I like the deal noodles because they're wider and they coat better. But you also got some thinner pho noodles as well. And what you do is you just soak them in some hot water for about 30 seconds to a minute. And then we'll all put it together, and then let's see how our guests like it. Okay. All right, guys, we're almost there. We're gonna add some freshness to the soup. We got our beautiful green herbs. We have got some sawtooth herb here. We have got some cilantro, some Thai basil. We're gonna chop up some green onions too. I couldn't fit that all into this. But Bong Tom Lee is here. You might remember her from our Thuc Bo Huk video. She's gonna help chop all this up. We are finally done. Thank God. So it's been like 2-3 hours since we first started. My guests are here. Kids are running around all crazy. They ate pizza, so we got them full. I don't know, but I'm gonna go ahead and make my own bowl. So obviously I get the big bowl. I'm a big bowl. I'm gonna put my noodles into this guy here. Got some boiling water, and we're gonna let this go for 30 seconds. I got them wide noodles that I love. Okay, so these noodles are perfect. So I'm gonna dress it up with some of the meat, okay? I like to put some raw meat on top. So I got that little pastrami. I'm gonna do like 2 meatballs. I'm also gonna do some beef eye round on the side there. Now I'm gonna dress it up with some herbs. So I'm gonna go over to where Bong Tom is. So we got some cilantro, a little bit of that, some sawtooth herb here, the green onion, some basil, and a little jalapeno, some white onion too on top. Doesn't that look beautiful? Very colorful. Last thing, last part, put our beautiful broth on top. Get plenty of that. Yes. Some more oxtail on there. Okay, we're good. So you may be wondering what happened to that brisket that we had in the oven. So our guests were so hungry that they decided to eat first. Totally forgot about it, kind of lost track of time. And before you know it, everybody was gone. But I'm going to make myself a second bowl because I deserve it. Here it is. And before you season your pho with any sriracha or hoisin, always make sure you taste the broth because you spent so much time working on it. It's so flavorful from that seasoning that we put on it. I'm gonna enjoy this, so the next time that we have our friends over, we're gonna definitely make sure that this is finished first so they can have some, because it's delicious and I know you guys are gonna enjoy it too. So make sure that you cook it and let me know how it turns out. I really hope that you enjoyed this episode of SERI Cooks. It's been a pleasure for me. I loved having my friends over, and that's the best part of it, making sure that you can take care of your friends and family by cooking and inviting them over. So again, don't forget to subscribe. It'll really help me out a lot. You can like the video as well. And as always, you can let me know how I did in the comments and I'll be sure to get back to you. Thanks, bye.